Hey, it's Biddy Penny. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am layering up a bunch of cards and sharing all my tips and tricks with you. Well, maybe not all of them, but a lot. The product that I'm working with today is from Pink Monarch Prints. This is their May 2023 subscription. It was so lovely. I had to revisit it. I've played with it before and made some journals and different things, but I wanted to play with it again and show you some cards that I have made. All of this is from that kit. The kits come with like 50 pages. I mean, they're huge, and it's $8.99 a month to subscribe. I love it. Okay, I am jumping off here with the way that I like to mass make cards. I like to lay my cards out. So here I'm making 3 different cards. I found one layout that I liked, which you can see here. But what I'm going to do is show you different ways to alter this layout. So the first one, and I think the most commonly known one that you'll see used again and again, is distressing the edges of all of my ephemera and all of my pieces and giving it that distressed look with ink. And I'm using a makeup brush here. Another option is acrylic paints, pops of color, Nuvo drops, paste. I'm going to use my lunar paste here today, but anything goes. But I am going to be using this with my finger tool to put a golden edge to everything, and I really love this. This is something I revisit again and again. I like the texture of it. I love the sheen and the metallic luster of the gold around it. It just gives it such a beautiful look. And you know, each one of these cards really looks different depending on which, technique that you're using. Make sure all of that dries before you start layering it up. But once your layers are done and dry, then I can layer that back up now. So you can definitely see the difference between these 3 here. I think it's really obvious, and that they're all beautiful. I am going to go back and distress the edge of this background because I had left it out. And as I do that, then I can talk about what the next version is going to be. So the next version, I'm using my scissors and I'm distressing the edges of all of my printables, all of my ephemera, and I'm not going to ink blend on this. This is just a texturized distress. You can use your scissors. It's not like the safest thing in the world. I'm just going to say it, like, be careful. But Tim Holtz does also have a distress tool that you can use. It's maybe a little safer. But I love this technique. I love how it rips and tears and texturizes the paper, and it gives it dimension. Like, so if you're wanting to mail off a bunch of cards and you don't want to pay extra postage because they're very thick and dimensional with foam and all of that, this is a good alternative. It won't bulk up your card so much that you can't just use one stamp. But when you look at it, it has a lot of dimension to it. So this is one of my favorite go-tos right here. It's just the scissors on the edge of the paper. And I really love it. I'm a texture person, and I just really like the effect that that gives overall to the whole piece. So there's like 3 different sets of ideas, and you can see them all side by side and how you can alter these printables on your card fronts. Next, I'm going to take these 2 backgrounds and cut these down to 5 by 7. When I do that, I do trim off a little bit of the printed distress that you can see there on the edges, but I'm not worried about that at all because I have ink, I have a brush, I will distress it. So I'm going to bring that distressing back, and I'll actually be able to darken it up, add a little extra contrast when I do my ink blending on these layers. I'm going to go around all the edges so it looks unified and cohesive as a piece. So that's what I'm doing here. Now that I have my 2 pieces, With these, I'm going to bring in some different elements and I'm going to show you other things, other ideas. Um, Again, I'm kind of giving these two card bases similar treatment, like similar pieces of ephemera, similar layouts, but I'm altering it a little bit. This card on the left has fewer pieces of ephemera and they're just larger. And the card on the right has more pieces of ephemera that are smaller. So anything goes. There's no set number to how many pieces you need. It's whatever appeals to you as a card maker, whatever feels right and looks beautiful to you. Well, that's the right number of pieces of ephemera to put on that card. And these cards, I'm going to just kind of arrange everything here where I think I want it to go. And then I will start thinking about the dimension that I might want to add or other elements. So one of the other elements I'm going to bring in is the lace. My favorite lace from one of my favorite people, Cheryl. Thanks, Cheryl. I'm going to use this here on the edge of this piece. And I am going to be using cereal box today to give dimension to a lot of my printables. I love it because it's in abundance here in my house. I always have empty cereal boxes to choose from. And, you know, the sustainability is a beautiful thing. Like, you know, if we can use more of the products that are around us and keep them out of, you know, recycling or the landfill, that's a win. So I'm using my Line Co glue here and gluing some pieces flat, but then other pieces I will actually glue the cereal box to the back of them. So now I'm using my Fabri-Tac. This bottle was running low, you guys. I had to grab a different one, but I had used glue to glue down my lace. Here's that Fruit Loops panel of a box, and I'm just going to show you, you know, just put your circle, whatever it is, on there, and then I cut a little bit under the line. What I like about this option too is not only the stability that it gives, the dimension that it gives, but I don't have to worry about, like, once it goes through the mailbox, like it getting wrinkled or anything, because that whole back is stabilized and covered. Then I wanted even more dimensions, so I'm bringing in my Dollar Tree foam. You can get these in like the automotive section area of Dollar Tree. It's amazing foam tape. I just love it so much. And so I will use that to pop up this other one. I wanted these two cards to be pretty dimensional, so that's what I'm doing for these. And the butterfly, I think I just glue that one straight down. You know, sometimes I like to put a whole lot on my cards. The ones that I know, like I'm planning on hand delivering, like anytime I'm making a custom card that can be hand delivered, you know, like I think these would be beautiful with like paper flowers and even more embellishments. I could totally see that. But these weren't going to be hand delivered. These were actually a gift that I was giving that had to go overseas in a tiny suitcase. So I needed them to be pretty flat. So that's, you know, always something to think about. So for this card on the left that I'm now finishing up, I had put some lace on it. I'm going to put this golden twine. I kind of like to just nest it up like a messy little bird's nest and pop that under the ephemera. I'm going to pop it in like 3 different places, and I'll just use my little pokey tool to kind of get it secured under there with glue. At first I was thinking about having it in like a messy bow, but I decided to just put it underneath here. I love what this adds to the cards as well. And again, I don't have to worry about too much dimension that would alter like the cost of postage or the integrity of the card being, crammed in a suitcase, things like that. I love the way these cards came together, and I want to make a set again to go into my stash for me to use, and I can do that because these are printables and I can just keep printing them, and that is a beautiful thing about printables. I have this gorgeous tissue from Dreams Etc. When I've ordered, Jen has wrapped my stamps in this before and I keep it. And I'm going to show you here that I'm going to emboss this. I just use my stamping foam underneath it, and I'm just using the palm of my hand because it's tissue. It doesn't need a lot of pressure. I don't have to run this through my die cutting machine, but it adds this beautiful embossed look. Now, the way I adhere it down, you don't see a lot of it. This is a step you could definitely omit if you were following along with me or using some of these ideas. You could omit that part, but it's fun. It's a good little tip to put in your hat and save for later, perhaps. It all just depends on how you're adhering it to your card. I'm going to use a glue stick, which is why it kind of flattens out most of that detail and isn't like totally obvious that it's there. But I left it in the video because it was a part of the process of making this card, and I like to share all of that with you guys. So here is the final arrangement on the final card, and I'm just going to go ahead and glue everything down. When you're working with layers, it's lots of fun thinking about which layers are going to poke through, where you're going to put things, having some peekaboo kind of moments, which is kind of what this dragonfly was. It's kind of a peekaboo moment. You can tell with that piece, I had backed that on the cereal board as well. It's a simple step. It takes a little bit of extra effort, but I promise it's worth it. Some printers just don't like thick paper, but I like thick ephemera sometimes. So it's kind of the way I fix that scenario. My printer is one of the ones that doesn't like super thick paper. After like 65-pound weight, it kind of gives up. It's like, no, please don't. It's not a big fan of cardstock. So, but I love my printer, and it does take photo paper, so I don't get it. I don't know, maybe because that's usually glossy. But yeah, this is my fix. I just back it, and I've come to embrace and love fussy cutting. I had fussy cut this whole kit out, and I'll tell you that that's a great thing to do if you're ever just kind of like want to be crafty and you want to be in your craft room, but you don't have any creativity because you're tired. I've been there. Do some fussy cutting. Cut up, do the things that you normally don't want to do when you're feeling really creative and you're like, I just want to keep creating, but now I've got to cut out this whole kit. Cut the kit out in front of the TV, or a time when you want to have your hands busy, but you're not in a creative space. And then you can put it to the side and it'll be ready for you when you are ready to create. Just a little tip. Okay, I promise I'm wrapping this up here. So I am going to add some little jimmies here on the side. Just adding details. I could keep adding to these cards, but again, I was trying to keep them somewhat simple for postage. I cannot wait to show you the inside of these cards, how that came together. They're beautiful, you guys. I love the inside. So I'm going to show you that next after I fiddle with these little bitty, teeny tiny little gems. I get a lot of questions about what tool I'm using here. This is called a Chrystal Katana. The price has dropped on it over the years, but I've had it for years and I love it. Okay, so this is my Make Art Station, this metal plate that I'm using to stencil on top of with my cardstock. And I absolutely adore these stencils. Y'all have seen me use these over and over and over again. They're 8.5 by 11, which I love because here I've got my whole card opened up and secured down. So I'm actually stenciling on both sides of the inside of the card, and it easily fits within the stencil space. And I just love the results that this is going to give. You're going to see in a minute. It's gorgeous on the 5x7, which is what this card is. And it's gorgeous on the A2, which is the next card that I am going to stencil on. I mean, it's just absolutely lovely. These I did purchase on Amazon. I'm going to find the link and leave it down below. I do have an Amazon affiliate. I don't have very many affiliates, you guys, and I don't link affiliate links very often, but when I can, I do. And so I will leave that link down for you down below. We get a few cents for each time you purchase something, but it doesn't cost you anything extra. And honestly, I do it so that it's easy for you to find. I mean, Amazon has so many products, right? So this is my little folder, my little ephemera folder that I made out of a photo album. And I just put my pink monarch print logo there from the printables, and I'm putting all these in there, and I just think it's a good way to stay organized. And now I know where all that ephemera came from the next time I want to use it. Here are my cards, you guys. I really love these. I made 4 A2 cards and 2 5x7s. Here's how the insides turned out. Aren't they gorgeous? Oh, I love these. I love all the details and the simplicity. Like, it is not difficult card making at all, but they turn out so beautiful. And I was showing you there that these look so dimensional, but they're totally flat. Very flat and beautiful. This one I did silver. I did both distressed with ink, and I put silver around it. So in that one I did too. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit long. I left a lot of stuff in I could have taken out, but I had some people ask me for longer videos, so yay. Yay for you guys. Here's a longer video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for spending your time with me, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.